Hope, I would hope he would think about it and this would be in his mind, but I wouldn't actually know what another person is feeling. Really wanted to find out who my father was, and for the case not to go how I was planning it, I really thought it was going to go different.
Time is running out for Jay-Z. Judge has officially ordered the music mogul to take a paternity test by July 17th. This time, there's no room for stalling, no hiding behind legal loopholes. Ramir Satterthwaite, a 31-year-old man who claims to be Jay-Z's biological son, has spent over a decade fighting for recognition, answers, and most importantly, the truth. But this isn't just about paternity, it's a tangled web of alleged fraud, cover-ups, and manipulation of the legal system. As the deadline creeps closer, one question looms large. Will Jay-Z finally be forced to face the truth? Ree's journey is the
God in there. So at what age then did you start to question, who your parents could be?
Well, I wouldn't say I started to question it, but I said around like 7, maybe 6. I think it started at 6, and my mom was just telling me that my father wasn't my father. But as a kid, I really didn't look.
Definition of a real-life David versus Goliath battle. With nothing but his late mother, Wanda's sworn affidavit, he's gone toe-to-toe with one of the most untouchable figures in hip-hop. Wanda, who died in 2019, insisted until her final breath that Jay-Z fathered her child after a 1992 encounter when she was just 16. She allegedly took that claim to her deathbed, a chilling fact that fuels Ree's decades-long fight. Despite her story and years of effort, Jay-Z has never spoken publicly about it, let alone taken a DNA test. For Uri, this was never about clout or cash, it's about identity, truth, and the promise his mother died holding on to. But getting here wasn't simple. Jay-Z's legal team has spent years playing legal, chess stalling, dodging, and allegedly twisting the system to avoid one simple test. Court records lay out a chaotic timeline of tossed-out cases, sealed files, and what Uri calls deliberate sabotage. One bombshell. Jay-Z's lawyers allegedly denied he had any ties to New Jersey, stripping the court of power to order a DNA test despite public records linking him to properties there. When one of Jay-Z's attorneys finally admitted they misspoke, it cast a dark shadow over the whole case. How does someone this rich, this connected, keep dodging the truth for over a decade? Ree, reflecting on his mother's unwavering story, said, "She never changed the name, she never lied, so why wouldn't I believe her?" That belief has driven him through years of silence, manipulation, and media blackout. But the darker whispers make this even more sinister. Insiders claim there have been bribes, falsified documents, and secret deals made to bury the case for good. And now, rumors even suggest Beyoncé herself may have stepped in. Known for guarding the Carter family's pristine image, could she have used her power to help keep Ree invisible? If so, this isn't just a legal battle, it's a PR war with billion-dollar reputations on the line. The question is no longer just whether Jay-Z is the father, it's what the Carters are so desperate to hide. IRE said it best, "We never wanted your money. I just wanted the truth." But even that, in a system rigged against the little guy, seemed impossible to reach. Now, the clock ticks toward July 17th, a deadline that could finally force Jay-Z into a corner he's avoided for years. Whether justice comes crashing down or gets swept away, once again only time will tell. For Ramir, this moment is nothing short of historic. After over a decade of battling just to be seen, to be heard, and to be acknowledged, he's faced roadblocks at every turn. His late mother's sworn affidavit, paternity tests clearing other potential fathers, and even inconsistencies in Jay-Z's legal filings have been swept aside or buried in red tape. Meanwhile, Ramir and his guardian, Dr. Lily Coley, have endured financial strain, emotional exhaustion, and according to court documents, even intimidation. They allege they were stalked, harassed, and had their property targeted. All while Jay-Z's powerhouse legal team kept dodging accountability. "I'm not just fighting for me," Ramir said. "I'm fighting for all of us. I want the truth. I won't be walked over by anyone, not even Jay-Z." And just when the case seemed tangled enough, an even darker cloud rolled in. Days before the paternity suit gained new life, Jay-Z was named in a civil lawsuit alongside Sean Diddy Combs, accused of assaulting an underage girl back in 2000. Jay-Z called the claims outrageous and labeled them a blackmail attempt, but the timing was explosive. The new scandal has reignited public scrutiny of Jay-Z's past and raised uncomfortable questions about the extent he might go to protect his empire. His image as a self-made billionaire and family man is under siege, and the public is watching closely. As the pressure mounts, people are beginning to wonder, are the walls finally closing in? Jay-Z famously said, "I'm not a businessman, I'm a businessman." Man, but what happens when the foundation of that business begins to crack? With Beyoncé silent and standing beside him, the stakes are sky high. Whispers in the industry hint that this paternity case might just be the tip of the iceberg. Allegedly, Jay-Z has made private settlements with others who claim to be his children, silencing them with non-disclosure agreements, hush money, and airtight legal threats. If these claims hold any truth, it would suggest a pattern, one rooted in secrecy, power, and the fear of public exposure. Imagine living with that kind of truth, knowing your identity has been erased to protect a billion-dollar brand. Think of the emotional weight carried by those who may have been forced into silence, never given the chance to ask the most basic question, who am I? These alleged efforts to maintain control over his legacy paint a chilling portrait of a man, determined to keep the truth locked away at all costs. As July 17th draws near, the final countdown has begun. Will Ramier finally get the answer he's spent a lifetime chasing? Or will the Carter dynasty bury the truth one more time? One thing's for sure, whatever happens next, the world will be watching. J-Z. Single quotes as silence hasn't just hurt Reimer, it's shaped his entire identity. For years, he's watched the world celebrate a man who, in his eyes, has turned his back on him. Every glowing magazine spread of the Carter family, every speech about legacy and fatherhood, it all cuts deeper for a young man who's spent decades just trying to be acknowledged. Reimer isn't asking for money, a spotlight, or fame. He's asking for something far more human, recognition. But when the man you're fighting against controls the narrative, the emotional weight becomes unbearable. Jay-Z's brand is built on loyalty, truth, and responsibility. But for Reimer, that image feels like a cruel joke. And if these rumors about hush money and secret children are even partially true, then Reimer's battle isn't just systemic, it's about the lengths Jay-Z's team may go to protect his empire at all costs. Reimer's mother, Wanda, allegedly met Jay-Z at a show before he was a superstar. She was just a teenager. Now, decades later, her son is still chasing the truth she swore to her dying day. The psychological toll of living in the shadow of someone that powerful, someone you believe is your father, is impossible to quantify. Courtrooms, sealed files, unanswered letters. How do you fight for truth when the other side has an army of lawyers and the world's attention? Still, through every setback, Reimer has stood firm. We could have settled this with a conversation, he says. I don't hate anyone, I just want the truth. His words aren't full of malice, they're full of exhaustion. He's been ignored, denied, and allegedly intimidated, but he keeps showing up. That kind of quiet resilience, that refusal to let go of the truth, speaks volumes. And yet, the emotional wounds are real. If Jay-Z is his father, will a single DNA test make up for a lifetime of silence? Can acknowledgement at this point ever truly heal what's been broken, or will it just open a fresh wave of heartbreak? On the other hand, if the test comes back negative, what happens then? Reimer will have to face the possibility that everything he's believed and fought for might have been wrong. The closure he's chasing might not come with relief. It could bring a deeper void. Either outcome will be faltering. This isn't just about biology, it's about identity, validation, and belonging. A lifetime of uncertainty hangs on, a few strands of DNA, and the outcome could shatter or finally piece together a broken narrative. And let's not forget, this test could change everything for Jay-Z. 2. If the results confirm paternity, it won't just be a scandal, it'll be a legacy-altering truth. It would unravel the Carter family's pristine image and force Jay-Z to publicly confront a chapter of his life he's allegedly spent years hiding. But even if the test clears him, it still leaves behind damage. The question would echo through the court of public opinion. Why fight so hard, for so long, to avoid something so simple? The stain of delay, secrecy, and emotional neglect won't easily wash away. In the end, whether it's truth or denial, justice or closure, this DNA test will change everything. Ultimately, this case has grown far beyond just Reimer or Jay-Z. It's become a reflection of something deeper, the universal need for truth, identity, and connection. Whether the DNA test brings closure or chaos, the emotional aftermath will outlast the news cycle. No matter the outcome, both men are walking a path lined with uncertainty. And when the truth finally emerges, it could either begin the process of healing or rip open wounds that never had a chance to scar. But behind the legal filings and media headlines lies something even darker. A trail of alleged intimidation that makes this story feel more like a thriller than a paternity case. According to court records, Reimer and his guardian, Dr. Lily Coley, have endured terrifying encounters, being followed, stalked, and even targeted on their own property. Cars driving onto their lawn in the dead of night. Strangers watching from the shadows. And most chilling of all, gunshots allegedly fired at their vehicle after they pushed harder in court. This isn't paranoia, these are documented claims. But the question lingers, who would go to such lengths, and why? Were these random acts or a coordinated campaign to frighten them into silence? If there's even a shred of truth here, it points to a deeply disturbing misuse of power. Reimer himself remains composed, even humble, in the face of it all. I'm not crazy, I don't have a record, I just want the truth, he says. His calmness is almost haunting given the chaos surrounding him. He's not looking to destroy Jay-Z, he just wants a conversation that could have settled this year's "I'll go." But now, intimidation claims and unanswered questions have painted Jay-Z's silence in a more sinister light. Is this about hiding one child or protecting an empire that can't afford even a crack in its image? And the timing couldn't be more damning. Jay-Z isn't just fighting a paternity claim, he's also battling serious allegations tied to a lawsuit involving Diddy and an underage victim from the early 2000s. While Jay-Z has fiercely denied the accusations, the scandal has peeled back the polished image he's spent years perfecting. The mogul, who once defined success, legacy, and black excellence, is suddenly being re-examined under a far less flattering lens. Is this the beginning of the unraveling? The moment where myth meets reality. His words about love, loyalty, and growth have inspired millions. But what happens when the persona he sold begins to crumble under scrutiny? With ties to Diddy's mounting legal troubles, Jay-Z's own empire feels more fragile than ever. For decades, he and Diddy were seen as untouchable kings of the culture. Now, both stand accused in separate but equally explosive cases that threaten to shatter their thrones. The world is watching to see if these icons will finally be held accountable or if money and fame will once again shield them from a reckoning others couldn't avoid. And then there's Beyoncé, the pillar of the Carter dynasty. She's remained silent, poised, untouchable. But silence, in a case like this, echoes louder than words, as fans begin to connect dots and question everything they thought they knew. One thing is certain, this is no longer just about DNA, about power, control, image, and legacy. The final chapters of this saga are still unwritten, but for Rymir, the stakes are personal. He's not chasing fame, he's chasing truth. And when that truth finally comes out, it may not just change one life. It could expose an entire system built on silence. Will Rymir finally get the answers he's been chasing since he was a teenager? Or will Jay-Z's legal team pull yet another legal sleight of hand, delay, deny, and disappear into the shadows once more? And what about the whispers, those quiet rumors of silenced voices, secret payoffs, and hidden truths? Could this case crack the door open for others to step forward? Or will it serve as a grim warning of what happens when you go up against a billionaire with a fortress of lawyers and influence? The stakes aren't just high for Rymir, they're sky high for anyone who's ever been ignored, erased, or outmatched by money and power. What started as a simple plea for truth has evolved into something much bigger. And now, with a court-mandated DNA test looming and darker accusations circling Jay-Z's name, we're standing at a pivotal crossroads. What happens next could shake the very core of the entertainment world. Will the truth see daylight, or will the Carter empire once again seal every crack before anything escapes? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because this is one story that's far from finished. Until next time, stay bold, stay curious, and keep watching.